Hi everyone, welcome to Adim Academy YouTube classes. So till yesterday we have discussed about two comprehensions, and we have actually discussed about the syllabus, the paper pattern, as well as the number of subjects which are included in Sbi Clerk 2023. So today we will be continuing a discussion on reading comprehension. So till yesterday we have discussed two comprehensions. Similarly today also we will be discussing about two comprehensions, the questions, and we will solve the questions simultaneously. And so let's start. All of the cells, so this is the comprehension which you can read. All of the cells in a particular plant start out with the same complement of genes. How can these cells differentiate and form structures as different as roots, stems, leaves and fruits? The answer is that only a small subset of the genes in a particular kind of cell are expressed or turned on at a given time. So here the author is trying to tell that what they mean by differentiation. There is a word here which means cells differentiate. Differentiation means assigning a particular function to a particular cell. For example, you might be knowing that there are many millions of cells in a human body. So different cells perform different functions. Let us assume that the cells in lungs perform the function of breathing, respiration. Similarly, the cells of skin are involved in temperature regulation and sweat control, etc. So there are specific cells in our body which are assigned specific functions. So differentiation means assigning specific functions to different cells. So in this case also, as we have discussed in animals, similarly the same case is applicable to plants as well. So the different cells make roots, stems, leaves, etc. So what is the function of roots? The function of roots is to absorb water and minerals from the soil. Similarly, the function of the shoot is to have leaves on it so that transpiration as well as respiration in plants may happen. So these are different functions of different parts of the plant. So the answer is that only a subset. What is a set and a subset? You might have heard these words because you probably have read them in your class 10th NCERT. So a set is a whole set which contains everything, and a subset is a part of that set. So here also this is the meaning of subset of genes in a particular kind of cells are expressed or turned on at a given time. So there are some specific genes in a cell which get turned on at a specific time. It means that not all chromosomes or not all genes are expressed in the other generation. It may happen that some genes are recessive and some genes are dominant. And what do you mean by dominant and recessive? Dominant means the genes which are expressed in next generation, or the genes or the characteristics which can be seen in other generations as well, is what is the meaning of dominant. And recessive means the genes which get suppressed over the generations. It means that those genes or those characteristics are not seen in subsequent generations. This is published by a complex This is accomplished by a complex system of chemical messengers that in plants include hormones and other regulatory molecules. So like we have hormones in our body, similarly plants also have hormones. So here they have actually told about 5 basic type of hormones which are present in plant, which is auxin, cytokinin, etc. Auxin, abscisic acid, cytokinin, ethylene and gibberellin. So what is the meaning of auxin? Auxin means to grow. So a plant also needs to grow from a seed, then it will turn into a shoot, then it will have leaves and branches and stem, and so on it will grow. So the hormone responsible for growth in plants is auxin. studies of plants have now identified a new class of regulatory molecules called oligosaccharides. But do you know that there are various hormones in plants, and all hormones have different functions. Some are inhibitory hormones, so we can classify hormones as inhibitory or developmental. So inhibitory hormones are the hormones which do not allow plant to do a particular function. For let's say if the stomata is closed during night, then it is because of the inhibitory hormone. Similarly, if a plant also needs a dormant stage, or a seed also needs a dormant stage so as to develop, it's not that in all time the plant needs to be active, but it needs to be dormant at a particular time. Like in animals also, there is a stage of dormancy. We also sleep in night, we also become dormant so as to conserve our energy for the next day. Similarly, plants also need the stage of dormancy when they are very young so as to get hold of the minerals and get hold of the environmental things which is being offered to them for their development. Unlike the oligosaccharides, so what is the meaning of oligosaccharides? You might have heard this word. What is saccharide? Saccharide is actually a simplest form of carbohydrate, and saccharides, there are many different types of saccharides. Saccharide means one, which is means one molecule of carbohydrate, and oligosaccharides consist of 10 molecules of carbohydrate. So oligo means 10 here. The 5 well-known plant hormones are pleiotropic rather than specific. So what is the meaning of pleiotropic? Pleiotropic means that a particular gene may have different functions, like what you have studied already. You have studied about George Mendel, his experiment with pea. So when he experimented with pea, one gene can have different traits. So this is what he observed. So this is all what is being told here. That is, each more hormone than one effect on the growth and development of plants. The 5 has so many simultaneous effects that they are not very useful in artificially controlling the growth of crops. Simultaneous, as we have discussed yesterday, simultaneous means side by side. It means that if I'm holding a pen right now and also I am talking to you, then simultaneously I am doing both works. It means at the same time I am doing both works. Auxin, for instance, simulates the rate of cell elongation, causes shoots to grow up and roots to grow down. So as I have told you, auxin means to grow. So shoots also grow up, roots also elongate, and plants, leaves, branches also grow because of auxin hormone. And inhibits the growth of lateral shoots. So what is the meaning of lateral? You have you seen a plant? Of course, yes, you might have seen that. But do you know that a plant is not just straight? It has many branches which help us to provide it volume. So when volume is provided to a plant in the form of shoots or in the form of branches or in the form of leaves, then this is what is meant by lateral system. It means that not a single thing is seen on a plant, but it is voluminized as a whole. And to produce ethylene. Ethylene is also a hormone. The pleiotropy of the 5 well-studied plant hormones is somewhat analogous to that of certain hormones in animals. So analogous means similar. This is the word analogous. So how the plant hormones function is somewhat similar, not totally, somewhat similar to how the hormones function in human body as well. For example, hormones from hypothalamus in the brain stimulate the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. You might have heard about the pituitary gland and hypothalamus. So pituitary gland is the master gland of our body which controls all the hormones or the secretions or the other glands present in our body. So here it is written that anterior. What is the meaning of anterior? Anterior and posterior. There are two words. Anterior means in front and posterior means back. So hypothalamus is located in front of pituitary gland. Different hormones, one of which stimulates the release of hormones from which adrenal cortex. So as you have studied the different terms in science, adrenal gland is one gland which is called the fighter gland. It means that whenever we face any dangerous situation, we feel a rush of hormones in our body which makes us feel stressed or which makes us feel happy. So whenever you are very happy, what is the reason of that happiness? The reason is inside you. It is because of the secretion of adenosine by the adrenal gland present in our body. And what is the meaning of cortex? There are many layers of cells which are present in different glands and different parts of body as well. So there are different layers like cortex, medulla, etc. So cortex is the outermost layer or outermost covering. Similarly, we have cortex present in our skin layers as well. We have the middle layer as medulla. One hormone stimulates the thyroid gland, for example, and another the ovarian follicle cells, and so forth. What is the meaning of follicle? Follicle means a cell which has the capacity to make other cells work in it. For example, if we say example of thyroid gland. Thyroid is a gland and it has a group of cells. So a group of cells actually performed the function of producing thyroxine, and those group of cells were called follicles at that time, which became a gland in their developed stage. In other words, there is a hierarchy of hormones. Such a hierarchy may also be seen in plants. Oligosaccharides are fragments of cell wall released by enzymes. Different enzymes release different oligosaccharides. There are indications that pleiotropic plant hormones may actually function by activating the enzymes that release these other more specific chemical messengers from the cell wall. So now let us look into the questions. Which one of the given below is not a major hormone? So we have studied about 5 hormones, and we have studied about auxin, abscisic acid, cytokinin, ethylene and ghrelin. So cytokinin we have studied, ethylene, abscisic and auxin we have not studied lateral roots. So lateral roots is not a hormone. We have discussed that lateral means sideways, and the roots, there is one root which is elongated root like we see in radish or carrot. Those are the examples of tap roots, but there are some roots which are spread inside the soil, and those roots are called lateral roots. So grass, do you know about grass? Grass also spreads, it's a runner. So the roots which spread are the lateral roots. So these are roots or not hormones, therefore this is the right answer. Which one of the following hormone is responsible for stimulating the rate of cell elongation? Stimulating, what is the meaning of stimulating? Stimulating means increasing, or which means giving a force to start. Stimulation means what is the stimulation behind your coming or beyond for watching this video. The stimulation is that you want to clear Sbi Clerk 2023 exam. So what is this driving force, or what is the stimulation for the rate of cell elongation? So which hormone is responsible for that? We will look into our passage. So which hormone is responsible for root elongation, cell elongation. So first, for that, answering that, first you have to read the options. The options are auxin, abscisic acid, gibberellin, cytokinin. So all these are given in the options. So now we will look into the specific functions of these hormones. So auxin, we have studied that auxin stimulates the rate of cell elongation. It's written directly. So the answer will be auxin, of course. Auxin. Which of the following is not a function performed by auxin? So we have studied auxin in detail, and so let's look into the functions of auxin. So the functions of auxin is this. Here there is the word auxin. Stimulates the rate of cell elongation. It helps the cell to grow or cell to elongate in length as well as breadth, and causes shoots to grow up. It helps the shoots in a plant to grow up. This also we have discussed, and roots to grow down. And also the length of the roots is also determined by the auxin hormone in plants, and to produce ethylene. This is also a function of auxin. So which statement does not contain this? Shoots to grow up and roots to grow down is correct. Inhibits the growth of lateral roots, shoots. Inhibits. Do you know what is inhibit? Inhibit means to restrict. So does auxin restricts the shoot to grow? No. So this is not the, inhibits the growth of lateral shoots and causes the plant to develop a vascular system. So for answering this, we have to study the paragraph in much more detail. So here it is written that three functions are given. One, stimulates the rate of elongation. Second is causes shoots to grow up, and third inhibits the growth of lateral shoots. It is also this is also written here, so this will also not be the answer. And also read the next line as well. Auxin also, so this is also a function that causes the plant to develop a vascular system. It helps the plants to develop a vascular system. So this is also right option, this is also right option, all of the above. So in this we can by seeing this we can actually conclude that it's not matter just we have to read that particular line, we have to read in between lines. It means that we have to read in that word, and we have to actually look for that word in the passage, and whenever we look to that word, the sentences which are related to that word, we should read them thoroughly so as to get an answer. So if we had skipped reading the second line, then we might have taken this answer, but when we read it thoroughly, then only we got the answer, that as all of the above. Which one of the following is the most opposite in meaning of the word simultaneous marked in the bold in the passage? So simultaneous, I have given the example of simultaneous. Simultaneous means I have discussed. So simultaneous means side by side doing something. So simultaneous means synchronous. Yes, synchronous way is also the way in which we are able to balance two things at a particular time. Concurrent is also same. Coexistent is also same, but asynchronous is opposite to synchronous. So this will be the answer. And now let us discuss a passage 2. A meteor which is related to space. So you all are fascinated with the word space. Space has so many things. It has planets, it has meteors, it has comets, it has asteroids, etc. So now we will be discussing about the various parts of space which are meteorites, comets, asteroids, etc. A meteor stream is composed of dust particles that have been ejected from a parent comet at a variety of velocities. So here we can see the two different words. We can see meteor as well as comet. So what is the difference between meteor and comet? Comet You might have heard about shooting star. What is actually a shooting star? Shooting star is when in around the sun some planets or some stones which don't have any particular shape revolve around the sun, then that if it collides with, or if it comes back to earth, then it comes in the form of shooting star. It means that it burns in the atmosphere, it burns in the layers of earth. So this is how shooting star is created. And sometimes you might have observed that in a clear sky we are able to see shooting star. So that we have discussed about shooting star. But do you know what is a comet? A comet is something which has a tail behind it. So it's very fascinating to think that can a planet or can a celestial body have a tail behind it? Of course, yes. So how can some planet, or not planet, some celestial body have a tail behind it? It can happen when all these bodies rotate around the sun or revolve around the sun. They get ignited by the heat of the sun, and thus they start burning, and we can see that in the form of tail. So it's very fascinating. These particles follow the same orbit as the parent comet, but due to their entering velocities, they slowly gain or fall behind the disintegrating comet until a shroud of dust surrounds the entire cometary orbit. So this is here it is written cometary orbit. So by this we can analyze that comets have orbits. So when they revolve around the sun, they have particular space in which they revolve, and also they have particular direction of motion, which is somewhat similar to elliptical or spherical motion. So here there is one more word, or one group of words which is written shroud of dust. Have you heard this word before? Shroud. What is the meaning of shroud? Shroud means a layer of dust. So this is generally used with dust. So whenever we can actually make sentences out of this, like when the mining was happening, the factories when the factories had mining then activities, then the shroud of dust surrounded the inhabitants which are living nearby. So this is the example of shroud of dust. Individual orbits are astronomers have hypothesized that a meteor stream should broaden with time as the dust experiment tested this hypothesis. As the dust particles' individual orbits are perturbed by planetary gravitational fields. So hypothesis, this is actually a new word. Hypothesis means something which can be presumed before in order to prove or disprove a particular statement. So we have discussed what is hypothesis. Then let us discuss what is gravitational force. You already know what is gravitational force, and you might be knowing the formula as well. G1 m1 m2 upon r square. A recent computer modeling experiment tested this hypothesis by tracking the influence of planetary gravitation and over a projected 5,000 year period of the positions of a group of hypothetical dust particles. So whenever we study, we have to create some hypothetical situations, or we have to create some imaginary situations in order to make our study valid. So for this we create artificial environment, like what you have heard in newspapers recent back about 2-3 months before. The tomato was grown in space. So how can tomato grow in space? It is actually a thing which we can't imagine, but it was actually grown. How was it grown? Because the space station, which is artificially located in a particular place on land, had been created by scientists, and they grew tomatoes in that space station. So this is what science is. It's all imagination and fascination. So thus hypothetical dust particles were also created in this situation to study the effect of dust. In the model, the particles were randomly distributed throughout a computer simulation of the orbit of an actual meteor stream, the geminate. So these dust particles were subjected to the actual meteor stream, which is called the geminate. So whenever there is this comma and after that a noun is given, then generally that noun is the conclusion of what is written previously in that sentence. The researcher found as expected that the computer models a stream broadened with time. Conventional theories, however, predicted that the distribution of particles would be increasingly dense towards the center of meteor stream. So what is the meaning of conventional? Conventional means the things or the traditions which have been established over a period of time and which we are following as customs or as our daily habits. So there is a convention that we have to open our sleepers before entering a temple. So this is a long established convention. Similarly, we can have different conventions. We have conventions in marriages as well, like we have Satpadi Pratha, which makes us marry in a certain particular way. We have different conventions and customs. So here also in space also we have different conventional theories which actually talk about how the meteor is going to work. Conventional theories, however, predict that the distribution of particles would be increasingly dense toward the center of a meteor stream. Surprisingly, the computer model meteor stream gradually came to resemble a thick-walled hollow pipe. Whenever the Earth passes through a meteor stream, a meteor shower occurs. This is also a term, meteor shower, which means that bombardment of meteor whenever Earth rotates. Moving at a little over 1,500,000 15 lakh miles per day around this orbit. So have you heard this word miles before? Yes. Mile means 1 mile is equals to 1.6 kilometer. So you can actually multiply it by 1.6 to get actual kilometers. The Earth would take an average just over a day to cross the hollow computer model Gemini's stream if the stream were 5,000 years old. Two brief periods of peak meteor activity during the shower would be observed, one as the Earth entered the thick-walled pipe and one as it excited. There is no reason why the Earth should always pass through the stream's exact center, so the time interval between the two bursts of activity would vary from 1 year to the next. Has the predicted twin peaked activity been observed for the actual yearly Geminate meteor shower? The Geminate data between 1970 and 1979 show just such a bifurcation, a secondary burst of meteor activity being clearly visible at an average of 19 hours, which is 12 lakh miles after the first burst. The time intervals between the bursts suggest the actual Geminate stream is about 3,000 years old. So there is only one new word here in last 7 to 8 lines. So bifurcation. What does bifurcation mean? Bifurcation means creating a line between the two things. Like we are bifurcating what are our syllabus. It means that we are actually dividing our syllabus into two parts. One is logical reasoning and another is English. So bifurcation means division in this case. So this is all about the passage. Now let us look into the questions related with it. When does the meteor shower occur? So for this, answering this question, you have to look into the paragraph with the word meteor shower. So wherever meteor shower word has come, then you have to read the line as a whole. So meteor shower, the time is asked. So the time of meteor shower will be 5,000 years old. No, this is not the answer, because meteor shower, whenever Earth passes through the meteor stream, whenever Earth passes through a meteor stream, a meteor shower occurs. So there is no time like 3,000, 5,000, or the data, numerical data is not the answer in this case. The answer is a statement which is that whenever the Earth passes through the meteor stream is when meteor shower occurs. So the answer is 2. A recent computer modeling experiment tested this hypothesis by tracking the influence of planetary gravitation over a projected -year period on the positions of a group of hypothetical dust particles. So here the answer is numerical. So we can look into the passage and see where are these numbers. So whenever we see these numbers, we can correlate with the sentence and we can give the answer accordingly. So actual Gemini stream is about 3,000 years old. But here it is not asking about the Gemini stream, but it is asking about the time period in years, about the position of a group of hypothetical dust particles. So the answer is 5,000 years, because by reading this line, a recent computer modeling experiment tested this hypothesis by tracking the influence of planetary gravitation over a projected 5,000 year period on the position of a group of hypothetical dust particles. So this is exactly the same line which is being asked in the question. So the answer will be 5,000. What does the time intervals between the bursts suggest about the actual Gemini stream? So this we have seen that it's a very visible line in the passage, and it is actually 3,000 years. This is also a straight answer. The time intervals between the bursts suggest the actual Gemini stream is about 3,000 years old. So the answer is, it is 3,000 years old. We have come across different terms in this passage like meteor, meteorite and meteoroid. Meteor is meteor. Meteor is a celestial body which moves around the earth, not around the earth but around the sun. Similarly, these are also celestial bodies. But what is the difference between a meteorite and a meteoroid? A meteor is called a meteorite when it enters into the Earth's atmosphere, and a meteor is called a meteorite when it actually falls on the Earth's surface and creates a hole or creates a depression in the Earth's surface. So this is the difference between meteor, meteorite and meteoroid. So this is all for today's class, and we have discussed about the different words which have come in the passage. We have also discussed about the central theme, and we have discussed about the type of questions which have come and how do we have to look into the answer in the passage, and what is the smart way of looking to the answer. So we have discussed some points, and so we can briefly revise those points. That first we have to read the question, then we have to see the options as well, and then if they are numerical options, then we have to look for the numerical part in that passage, and we have to correlate with the statement before that in order to get the exact answer of our question. So this is all which we have discussed, and now tomorrow we'll be starting another topic, an English language, of course, which will be something different. It will be another like close test or anything else I can take tomorrow. So till then keep revising and do more practice comprehensions, and bye.